Howdy, I'm John Mark Dempsey, and once again, continuing our second cup of coffee conversation with Dr. Deana Steeber, Superintendent of Sulphur Springs ISD, about the legislative session that has just ended at the beginning of June. We covered teacher salaries and just general base funding, which is up $8.5 billion, first time. I think there's been a base funding increase since 2019.
Correct.
Is what I read. So, and I know it was not as much as people in public education would have hoped for, but at least that is an increase for the first time in,
Sure.
6 years.
Right.
Then. Some other things that came out of the legislative session, when we had our conversation before, we didn't talk about vouchers, which did pass, $10,000 vouchers. I know you are, like most public school folks, not a big fan of
Sure.
of that idea, but finally it has come to be. Do you expect it to have much of an impact on Sulphur Springs ISD?
I don't. I mean, I really don't think that it's going to have much of an impact on us here. There may be districts, around the Metroplex that it might affect more, but I don't think that we will.
Of course, you don't have many church schools, religious schools, or private schools in this particular area, but in any
Sure.
rural area,
Right, for sure.
to speak of.
For sure.
Now they may pop up now. They may develop.
Right.
Yeah, but I would think, just as going back to your bond issue from now almost a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I guess it is a couple of years ago. That you have to take that, and then other indications since then as an indication that people are fairly pleased with how things are going in Sulphur Springs
Sure.
ISD.
I certainly hope so.
Parents in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so. Where, our goal is to always do right by kids and do what's best for kids.
So anyway, we'll be watching that carefully over the next couple of years and see how that goes. The cell phone ban, I don't like the word ban, but I guess it's an appropriate. This passed, and there's been a lot of discussion about the influence of cell phones, and I think anybody can imagine. I was a college instructor, and I have to say that to look up and see kids doing this while you're talking is a little disconcerting, but that's I know some teachers in public schools deal with a much worse problem than that, but the idea is to, as I understand it, to not allow kids to bring cell phones into the classroom, which a lot of people will say that's a great idea, but as we were talking before the mics went on, the cameras went on, there's more to it than that. It's a complicated question.
Sure, it's complicated, and it's June, right? And school starts in August, and we have to wait, for the interpretation and then for policy options, and so the timeline for implementation is not.
Yeah, you don't have much time.
There's not much time there, but then, what does that exactly look like? It reads as, that watches are banned as well, as far as like a smartwatch, or, and how is that managed, and, what does that look like?
Well, you made the point. How many kids at Sulphur Springs High School?
About 1,300.
So what are you going to do with 1,300 cell phones
right,
at 8:30 in the morning?
Sure. Every day at 8:30. Yeah, I mean, it's we'll have to get a plan in place for that, and I think it. I'm certainly not saying there's not any merit to it, but I think maybe more thought should have been put into it, and it certainly. I mean, there were other issues in public education that were much more pressing, like the STAR test, changing that versus what this is. And, I think this is just a personal opinion. I think the cell phone is not the problem. It's social media. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah. That our kids are facing.
Of course, the cell phone is how the social media is delivered.
Sometimes.
What are the problems, though, with social media that you're referring to?
I think just instant access to, other people, and the comfort of sitting behind a screen and just type, and saying things that you might not,
Yep.
A child or even an adult
Yep.
might not ever say
Yep.
to someone, when they're face to face.
Yep.
Hiding behind that, the opportunities for bullying,
Yep.
just cyberbullying and things like that, or posting anonymously, those kinds of things are.
I can imagine it and you hear of fights that break out in a school over
Sure.
something that came up on, I'm sure it wasn't Facebook with kids,
Right.
Instagram or whatever, and somebody posted something at 1:30, and at 2:30 there's a fight in the hallway.
Right. Sure. Or just things that are posted in the evenings,
Right.
That bleed over into the school day the next day.
Yeah. 10 Commandments posted in the schools. That's a change, and
Sure.
I don't know if that's optional or if that is a mandated thing.
I haven't. Still waiting to hear if we are required to post those, or like if we're required to purchase, whatever and post it, or if we are. There was talk that if they were donated, then you were required to post. So. Still waiting on some information from that to kind of see what exactly we're going to be required to do.
The explanation of that, or the justification for that, is the 10 Commandments are whether you're a religious person or not, they provide the foundation of society, and that it's worthwhile to have that front and center where people can see what it says.
Yes.
Well. It'll take a while, I guess, for all this to sort itself out.
I think so.
As you have pointed out. We're really out of time, but you say now work has already started on Rowena Johnson Elementary?
Yes, a little bit. And we've got equipment out there and starting to get set up, and we are working on a grading permit at this time. But, we people should start seeing dirt being moved here pretty soon.
It's on College Street.
On College Street,
and,
yes.
And maybe a groundbreaking come the start of school.
Yes,
again.
We're ready to do one now, but just with the heat and everything,
sure.
I think we would prefer to push it to maybe late September when
Okay.
it's a little cooler outside,
great.
and teachers are back.
I
and
understand.
can
That makes sense.
participate as well.
That makes sense. Dr. Deana Steeber, Superintendent of Sulphur Springs ISD. I'm John Mark Dempsey. This is KSST.